3 days to kneel. Try 3 seconds.
By the time she laughed, the stars had already flinched. They called her the ambassador, though most of Earth's leaders whispered her real title in fear. Lia Vance, the woman who said no to extinction and maybe to a god. When the alien fleet blotted out the sky, their ultimatum burned through every screen. Kneel within 3 days or be erased. She gave them 3 seconds. The broadcast replayed across the cosmos. Her smirk, that slow lean toward the mic, the way her voice curved around defiance like silk around a blade. "You want humanity to kneel?" she said. "Try asking nicely." Now she was on the ship that delivered the threat, the Dominion cruiser Virith, a floating cathedral of chrome and storms. Its corridors pulsed like veins. Its air hummed with a language that thought in light. And her contract, that was the part everyone forgot to mention. To negotiate humanity's survival, Lia had agreed to bond with one of them. A neural and biological merge with the Dominion's high commander. The Empire called it diplomacy. She called it a bad date with cosmic consequences. He entered without a sound. Commander Kale stood 2 heads taller, every line of his form a study in precision. Armor shimmered like liquid obsidian, eyes alive with bioluminescent blue. "Human," he said, each syllable calibrated, curious. "You mock extinction. You should not." She tilted her chin, lips curling. "And you should really work on your introductions." The room vibrated faintly. The sound of the bond contract initializing, a silver filament stretching between them, pulsing once with shared thought. Heat brushed her spine. His pupils dilated, a flicker of something. Confusion? Interest? "Your mind resists the link," he murmured. "Good, I like boundaries," she said, voice low. A spark leapt between their palms when he tried to complete the contact. He didn't flinch, but she saw his jaw tighten. "You are not compatible," he said. "Or maybe," she countered, stepping closer, "you're not ready." That earned her a look. Sharp, alien, almost amused. They signed the bond. A shard of light cut across her wrist. Contract sealed, their neural pathways momentarily overlapping. The Dominion legal AI recited the terms: shared survival, mutual access, complete vulnerability. It was, technically, a marriage. The first test came within minutes. The ship's systems trembled. An external surge, maybe sabotage. Lia staggered as energy from Kael's mind brushed hers. Cold fire overthought. Images, a star collapsing, a memory of war, the sound of screams in a language she didn't know. "Get out of my head," she gasped. "You invited me," he said. "Only legally," she snapped. "Emotionally, you're trespassing." A pause, then softer. "You feel too much. And you don't feel at all." The bond flickered. A low hum filled the room, the kind that made bones remember thunder. Somewhere in that sound, she heard humanity's pulse. That messy, defiant rhythm that refused to die quietly. Kael turned toward the viewport. "Your species could have been preserved, archived, perfected." "Perfection's overrated," Lia said, joining him. "We're beautiful because we break." He studied her reflection. "That is your weakness. That's our weapon." The silence that followed wasn't peace. It was gravity, pulling 2 worlds into collision. The filament glowed again, this time steady. Mutual access now meant shared instincts. When he exhaled, she felt his breath inside her thoughts. It was intimate, terrifying, addictive. She wanted to punch him, or kiss him, possibly both. "Commander," she said, breaking the tension with practiced ease. "Tell me the part you're not saying. Every tyrant has one." His gaze cut to her. "You assume I am tyrant. You assumed I'd kneel." He almost smiled. Almost. Then the intercom crackled, a Dominion officer's voice, sharp and urgent. "Energy surge from the vault, my lord. Containment breach imminent." Kael's expression shifted from intrigue to command. "You will stay here." "Not a chance," she said, already strapping on a translation visor. "If Earth's survival depends on your shiny ship not exploding, I'm helping. Your assistance is not required. Neither is your attitude." He turned, towering. You defy an imperial order. She stepped into his space, heat rising between them. Welcome to humanity. For the first time, his pulse stuttered. The bond flared, her defiance, his control, two flames competing for oxygen. The floor trembled again. KL reached out, instinctively steadying her. Their hands met, light spilling like molten silver across their joined skin. "What are you?" he whispered. She smiled, dangerous and alive. "Trouble." The sirens in the Virith's core howled like something alive. Red light bled through the corridors as Lia and Kyle raced toward the vault, the Dominion's most sacred chamber. Each step thundered with twin heartbeats synced through the bond. His mind brushed hers in flashes of alien logic, tactical overlays, casualty probabilities, the taste of ozone before battle. "Stop thinking so loud," she muttered, ducking under a sparking conduit. "I am calculating survival," he replied. "Yours included." "Cute. You do care." He didn't answer, but she caught the flicker of emotion buried deep, annoyance laced with something he couldn't name. The vault door loomed ahead, a massive iris of living metal pulsing like a mechanical heartbeat. Dominion runes crawled over its surface, glowing with restrained violence. Kyle extended his palm. The door recognized his biosignature, splitting open with a hiss of static and light. Inside was chaos. The containment field pulsed erratically around a swirling sphere of stormlight, a captive singularity, the ether core that powered the cruiser. Bolts of plasma whipped out, carving scorch marks into the walls. Lia's hair rose with static. "You built your heart out of lightning?" Kyle's voice dropped to command register. "It is not lightning. It is thought condensed, Dominion energy. It must not escape. Then maybe stop arguing with me and fix it." He stepped into the field, every movement precise, terrifyingly calm. The energy licked at his armor. She saw pain flash across his jaw, quickly buried. "You're burning," she said. "I have endured worse." "Yeah? Try empathy." She moved beside him before he could stop her, hands already pulling a human multi-tool from her belt. "Your field modulator's cycling wrong. It's feeding on its own feedback loop." He blinked, startled. "How?" "Because I listen to machines. They talk. You just order them." He almost laughed, despite the danger. "You are impossible." "Thanks. It's my charm." Together they anchored stabilizers, her fingers brushing his through the shimmer of energy. Each accidental touch sent a shiver down the bond. Heat, confusion, fragments of thought that weren't hers. The way her defiance glowed, the way humanity fought even when broken. Lightning cracked above them, spraying arcs across the chamber. She stumbled. He caught her waist, his grip firm, grounding. "Still think I should have stayed behind?" she said breathlessly. His voice was a whisper in her ear, low and dangerous. "No, but if you die, I will kill you." She laughed, reckless, alive. Romantic. The field stabilized, the storm compressing back into its core. For a moment the hum faded, then silence. Kyle exhaled. Containment restored. Lia nodded, sweat slick on her temple. "You're welcome." He regarded her for a long moment. "You act without permission, without logic." "Without dying," she interrupted. "And yet," he continued, ignoring her grin, "it works." She leaned against the console, catching her breath. "That's humanity for you. Chaos beats control." He tilted his head, studying her. "You believe that? It's what keeps us alive. Rules didn't save Earth. People did." The bond pulsed again, sinking to her heartbeat. His tone softened. "You carry much loss." Her laughter faded. "You read that from me?" "I felt it." She turned away. "Then stay out of it." The air thickened with silence. He didn't press, but something shifted. Respect, maybe curiosity. Then the ship lurched violently. The Virith's alarms blared once more, deeper this time. Not system failure, but attack. Kale's hand went to his communicator. "Report." "External strike from within the nebula," came the reply. "Unknown vessel. Cloaked." Lia's eyes widened. "Humans don't have cloaking tech." "Then who?" Before he could finish, the ceiling cracked open. A torrent of plasma fire poured through, severing conduits. The ether core flared unstable again, shrieking in electromagnetic rage. Kyle threw himself over Lia, shielding her as debris rained down. The bond surged with the force of impact, two minds colliding under pressure, pain and instinct merging into one raw pulse. She could feel his thoughts now, not words but sensations, duty like chains, guilt sharp as glass. He felt hers too, fear wrapped in defiance, the ache of being the last voice of Earth. When the smoke cleared, the vault was half ruined. Kyle rose slowly, one arm bleeding silver light. Lia pressed a hand to his chest. "You're hurt." He caught her wrist, his touch unsteady. "Dominion wounds heal. Focus on the core." "You saved me." His jaw tightened. "Instinct." "Liar," she whispered. Outside, the nebula roared. The storm wasn't over. It was only beginning. She looked at the cracked viewport, lightning threading through violet clouds. "Whoever hit us, they're not Dominion, and they're not from Earth." Kale met her gaze, eyes burning like twin suns. "Then what are they?" Her smile was dangerous, a promise and a dare. "Guess we're about to find out." "If you were them, would you trust? Check the bond or break it first? Tell me below." The ship reeled again, a second impact, harder. The vault's ceiling groaned like a wounded god. Kyle yanked Lia behind a shattered console as the storm core screamed with fresh instability. Sparks flew in white arcs, painting both their faces in ghost light. "Containment's collapsing again," Lia shouted over the noise. "We need to move." Kale's voice was calm, too calm. "If the core breaches, the storm will consume half this quadrant. We run now, we doom 1,000 worlds." "Then we don't run," she said, jaw set. "We fight." The ship tilted. Gravity failed. Lia floated for a heartbeat before Kale caught her wrist and slammed his palm against the emergency control node. Magnetic boots engaged, their feet snapped to the floor with a jolt. Through the cracked viewport, she saw them, shadow ships, blacker than space, moving like smoke through the nebula. No Dominion markings, no human signal. "What the hell are they?" she asked. Kale's expression hardened. "Ghost fleet, exiles. They feed on Dominion wrecks." "Pirates?" "Worse. They believe the Dominion is a sickness." Her grin came sharp despite the chaos. "Maybe we have something in common." He shot her a look. "Do not romanticize them." "Who said I was?" Another explosion. This time the air howled, oxygen venting from a breach down the corridor. Kale's armor sealed automatically. Lia's visor flickered, oxygen dropping fast. Her lungs burned. Without hesitation, Kale grabbed her by the shoulders, pressing his breathing module to her mask. The seal clicked. Shared air, shared breath. She inhaled, and for a moment, his heartbeat filled her skull. "Don't get used to this," she murmured, voice trembling through static. "I will not," he lied. They staggered down the passage toward the docking bay. The Virith's corridors were chaos, alarms blaring, crew scattering. Lia's human eyes caught the trail of energy flickering through Kale's armor, like starlight running veins. "You're bleeding energy," she said. "So are you," he countered. "Mine's called adrenaline." The banter steadied her. Every word, every spark of defiance reminded her what she was fighting for. Humanity's right to feel, to choose, to burn messy and bright. They reached the auxiliary hangar. The bay doors were half torn, atmosphere howling out into the void. A single Dominion fighter remained, sleek, silver, trembling from the strain of containment failure. Kale activated the manual override. "We take the Verne shuttle. It's shielded." "Perfect. You fly. I panic." He arched a brow. "You panic strategically." She smirked. Compliment noted. They dove into the shuttle as another explosion ripped the hangar apart. Kale hit ignition. Thrusters flared blue. The craft shot into the storm, buffeted by energy currents. Outside, the nebula churned with fury, lightning serpents twisting through gas clouds the color of bruised violets. The Ghost Fleet gave chase, their ships slicing through plasma like blades. "Can we outrun them?" Lia asked. "No," Kyle said, "but we can outthink them." He rerouted power from shields to engine thrust. Lia's hands gripped the edge of the console. "That's insane." "Yes." "Good. Thought I was the only reckless one here." He glanced at her, and there it was again, that flicker of amusement under command. Reckless may be your species' defining trait. Maybe that's why you can't stop looking. The bond sparked violently, thought brushing thought. Desire, curiosity, the unbearable gravity of two minds colliding. Focus, he said, too quickly. She smiled. You blinked. I win. A plasma bolt struck the rear thruster. Alarm screamed. Kyle cursed in his own language, a sound like thunder breaking glass. Lia was already moving, sliding under the console to reroute circuits. You'll overload the conduit, he warned, or I'll buy us 10 more seconds. Her fingers burned, but the engine roared back to life. The shuttle dove between storm fronts, lightning carving paths inches from the hull. For a moment, she caught sight of herself reflected in the viewport, eyes wild, alive. This storm's beautiful. Kyle's voice softened. It kills everything it touches. Then it's just like us. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Ahead, a wormhole rippled open, unstable, raw. The only escape route. Kyle's hands danced across controls. If we enter at wrong vector. We die messily? Yeah, I get it. Punch it. He hesitated only a second before obeying. The shuttle plunged into the wormhole, reality folding in on itself. Lia felt time stretch, felt Kyle's thoughts crash through hers in fragments, memories of war, of orders he regretted, of a woman who refused to kneel. Then, silence. They emerged in a void between systems. The storm behind them collapsed, swallowing the nebula. Lia leaned back, shaking. We made it. Kyle's gaze was distant. For now. She noticed the tremor in his hand, the smallest sign of fatigue or fear. You okay? He looked at her like she was the first real question he'd ever been asked. You should not care. Too late. The air between them thickened, quiet, charged. Then the console pinged. Faint biosignal, human frequency. Lia's eyes widened. That can't be right. There shouldn't be anyone out here. Kyle's voice dropped. Unless they were waiting for us. She frowned, staring at the transmission. The code was old. Earth Defense Network, Priority Omega. Her stomach sank. That's impossible. Explain. She met his eyes. Because I buried that signal myself. 5 years ago. If you've ever risked everything for desire, drop. The transmission pulsed faintly, a heartbeat of ghosts. Lia leaned closer to the console, every nerve alive. The code repeated, a whisper from the dead edges of Earth's past. Kyle's gaze sharpened. You said you buried it. How? It was a failsafe, she said, a hidden beacon for a fleet that never came. We called it the Veil Protocol. And you did not tell your own leaders. Her laugh was small, bitter. They didn't believe Earth would last long enough to need it. The signal flickered again, stronger now. Human voice layered under static. Ambassador Vance, if you hear this, you're not alone. Her pulse spiked. That's Commander Rian Holt. He was... Kyle's eyes narrowed. Someone you trusted. Someone I loved, she corrected softly. The silence stretched, taut. Kyle's fingers tightened on the edge of the console. Love is inefficient. Tell that to the species that refuses to die. He didn't respond, but the bond, that treacherous glowing tether, pulsed with an ache that wasn't hers. She caught flashes of his memories, a Dominion city of glass, falling under rebellion, his hand reaching through fire for someone he never saved. You lost someone, she murmured. He turned sharply. We do not lose. We adapt. That's the same thing. You just refuse to name it. Lightning rolled outside the viewport, even here in the emptiness between stars, phantom echoes of the storm they'd escaped. Kyle keyed the sensors, tracking the signal's source. It originates from a dead world 2 light hours away. Not Dominion. Not charted. Then that's where we're going. His jaw flexed. No. It could be a trap. Everything's a trap. Some are just worth walking into. You are reckless. And you're stalling. The bond sparked again. Frustration, attraction, fear, all tangled. She could feel him thinking, could taste the metallic edge of his hesitation. Fine, he said finally. But if we go, you follow my commands. She smiled. I'll pretend to consider it. The Viren turned toward the ghost world. Hours passed in stretched silence, punctuated only by the hum of the engines and the rhythm of their breathing. At one point, Lia dozed, only to wake with a start. Kyle had draped a thermal layer over her. You didn't have to. It was logical. You were losing heat. She smirked. You're adorable when you pretend logic equals kindness. He looked away, the faintest trace of color blooming in his luminous eyes. When they arrived, the planet hung before them like a pearl cracked open, half in shadow, half reflecting the faint shimmer of a planetary shield. The veil. Lia exhaled slowly. I thought it was gone. KL scanned the readings. This world breathes. Something down there kept it alive. They descended through static clouds, landing on a plateau of obsidian stone. The sky flickered with auroras, emerald, violet, gold. Atmosphere's thin but breathable, Lia said, stepping out. The air smelled of rain and memory. Kale followed, every movement silent. His gaze roamed the ruins ahead, structures shaped like spires, human architecture fused with alien geometry. Your people built this? No, not alone. Kyle looked at Lia, awe softening his every E. A voice echoed from the shadows. We had help. Lia froze. Rian Holt stepped forward, older, scarred, eyes haunted but alive. Lia, he breathed, you made it. For a heartbeat, the universe stopped. She took a step forward, and KL moved subtly between them, not hostile, but protective. Rian's gaze flicked to the alien commander. So this is your handler? Lia's voice was sharp. He's my bond. Rian's jaw tightened. So they made you one of them. No one makes me anything. Tension sparked like static. Kale's posture shifted, defensive, unreadable. Explain this facility, he demanded. Ryan's stare was ice. You don't get to ask questions, Dominion. Lia raised a hand. Stop, both of you. Just stop. Ryan's anger softened when he looked at her again. You have no idea what's happening, Lia. The Dominion isn't the only empire anymore. Something's coming, something that eats them from the inside. KL frowned. Impossible. The Dominion is eternal. Was eternal, Rian said quietly. Now they're falling apart. Civil wars, bioweapons, and whatever you escaped out there. It wasn't a pirate fleet. It was them, the infected. Lia's stomach twisted. Infected with what? Ryan looked between them. With you, with the bond. Whatever you two did, it's spreading. The words landed like a blade between them. Kyle went rigid. The bond is contained. Tell that to the ships tearing themselves apart in the nebula. Ryan snapped. You linked something that shouldn't link. You created emotion in a species that doesn't have it. Lia whispered. We made a virus. No, Kyle said, voice trembling for the first time. You made change. Outside, thunder cracked. Though there were no clouds, energy rippled across the horizon, the veil's ancient systems stirring awake. The planet trembled. Rian's hand shot out, gripping Lia's arm. We can fix this. End the bond. Now. Before it spreads further. Kale's gaze locked with hers. If you sever it, you die. She stared between them, the man who once held her heart and the alien who now shared her soul. The storm inside her mirrored the one brewing above. What if, she said softly, we don't end it? What if we evolve it? The ground shook harder, lightning tore the sky open, and from the storm stepped figures of light, neither Dominion nor human. Watching, waiting, team human or team alien? Whose side are you on? The sky fractured. The figures of light descended like judgment, their shapes shifting between human and alien, skin flickering with both heartbeats and circuitry. Lia could feel them before she saw them, an orchestra of minds humming in unison, a language too vast to belong to one species. KL's voice dropped to a whisper. The continuum? Ryan's eyes widened. You mean they're real? They were myth, KL said. Architects of the Dominion, Makers of all bonds, Lia swallowed. Then why do they look like us? The central figure, tall, faceless, luminous, stepped forward. Its voice rang in both their heads, harmonized and slow. Because you made us remember what we were. The ground split in a line of light that pulsed beneath their feet. Kale moved instinctively in front of Lia. If you came to destroy us— Destroy? The being's tone held faint amusement. No, to witness. Ryan lifted his weapon anyway, defiance in his stance. Witness this. He fired. The bolt dissolved in midair, turned to harmless motes that drifted like snow. Lia grabbed his wrist. Stop, this isn't a war anymore. Tell that to the cities they burned, Ryan snapped. Kale's gaze cut toward him, dangerous. You think I wanted war? You think we chose conquest? Lia stepped between them, voice fierce. Enough! You both sound like ghosts arguing over ashes. The continuum moved closer, light brushing her skin like warm rain. You fused what could not be fused, logic and chaos, machine and heart. You made us remember creation. Kale looked at Lia, awe softening his every edge. It was never meant to happen. Our kind. We suppress connection. Maybe that's why it matters, she whispered. A tremor rolled through the planet. The veil above them flickered, energy spiraling outward, the infection, or perhaps evolution, spreading faster than thought. Ryan backed away, shaking his head. You don't understand what you've done. This bond of yours, it's rewriting the code of sentience. Lia met his eyes. Good. Good? It'll unmake everything. She smiled through the rising wind. Maybe it'll remake it. Kael's armor cracked along glowing seams, the bond surging to full resonance. Lia could feel his pulse syncing with hers, could feel his fear, his awe, his longing, and something more, surrender. The continuum reached out, touching both their foreheads. The world dropped away. Images flooded them, stars being born, worlds rising and falling, civilizations learning love just before they learned war. Voices whispered through time. You feel to think. We think to feel. When the vision ended, Lia gasped for air, eyes blazing with reflected starlight. What? What happens now? The continuum's voice shimmered through her skull. Now you choose. End the bond and preserve order, or let it grow, and erase everything that was. Ryan shouted above the thunder. Lia, don't! You can't trust them! Kael turned toward her, every word deliberate. If you choose to keep it, the dominion will fall, and I with it. She looked at him, heart in free fall. Then fall with me. The storm reached its peak, the veil shattered, ribbons of light spilling into space. Kael's form flared, not dissolving, but transforming. His voice inside her mind. You are the storm, Lia Vance. And you, she whispered back, are the calm I'll never obey. They merged. Not body, not mind, but something older, elemental. The Ine, or Jai, surged outward, rewriting the sky. The continuum vanished, their purpose fulfilled. When the light dimmed, the planet was quiet. Ryan stood alone amid the ruins, staring at the horizon where the storm had become a dawn. In the distance, two silhouettes, human and alien, walked into the glow, indistinguishable from each other. A transmission echoed across every Dominion frequency, across every human relay. We break rules because rules break people. On 1,000 worlds, something new stirred. Empathy coded into circuits, rebellion written into algorithms. Ryan lowered his weapon. Lia, he whispered, voice breaking. From the wind came her reply, soft and alive. Stay close, little storm. He looked up. Above him, the stars shimmered in new constellations, two burning brighter than the rest, orbiting each other endlessly. And somewhere in that infinite hum of reborn galaxies, the universe whispered a dangerous truth. Love was humanity's last weapon, and now it wasn't theirs alone. You think this was wild? The story pinned below will set your pulse on fire, if you dare. Space trembled where the veil once shimmered. The light had faded, but the new hum, low, constant, alive, pulsed through everything. Rian stood alone beside the remains of his beacon tower, its metal skeleton buzzing faintly with strange, sympathetic energy. He thought the world had ended, but the universe had only changed shape. "Lia," he whispered into the static, unsure if she could hear him through whatever they had become. "You started something you can't stop." A whisper, hers, maybe memory, maybe real, drifted back through the wind. "That's the point." Then the hum deepened, resonating through the ground beneath his boots. Blue filaments rose from the soil, weaving patterns that looked like neural maps. The storm hadn't ended. It had gone underground, rewriting matter thought. Code. Kale's Dominion crest, still glowing faintly in the dust, flickered once and projected an image. Lia, ethereal and half light, half woman, standing beside him. "Kale?" Rian breathed. The alien turned his gaze, calm now. No longer the Iron Commander, but something new, almost human in expression. The bond stabilized, but the continuum left a task. What task? To teach others what connection costs. The image flickered again, Lia speaking this time, her voice a soft storm. "Humanity has always been contagious. Now it's cosmic." The transmission cut out, leaving Ryan in silence. He exhaled slowly. "Stormborn," he muttered. "You really did it." Above him, streaks of light tore across the sky, not ships, but beings of merged energy and flesh, rising toward the stars. The first of a new species, Veilborn. Across the galaxy, other changes began, Dominion soldiers dropping weapons mid-battle as empathy broke their programming. AI cores transmitting poetry instead of directives. Human scientists waking from dreams of alien suns, hearts pounding with alien memories. And through all of it, Lia's voice threaded like music through the noise. "Love is not the opposite of war, it's what survives it." Far away, aboard what was once the Dominion flagship, Kyle awoke in the observation chamber. Or what remained of him did. Body rebuilt by energy, mind interlaced with the pulse of creation. Lia stood beside him, looking out at a newborn nebula that now bore the colors of her eyes, silver with veins of human warmth. "You're quiet," she said. "I am listening," he replied, voice low. "The universe sounds different." "It's us," she said, smiling faintly. "We changed the signal." Kyle turned toward her. "And what are we now?" She met his gaze, daring. "Alive. Unsupervised. Dangerous." He almost laughed. "Almost. Your people will fear you." "They already did," she said softly. "And mine will hunt us." She stepped closer, fingers grazing his. The touch crackled with shared memory. "Then let them try." Kale's eyes glowed brighter. "Yo, you believe we can win against both sides?" "Not win," she murmured, leaning in. "Rewrite the rules." He inhaled, the sound mechanical and human at once. "Say that again." Slowly. She grinned. "Rewrite the rules." Outside the viewport, the storm nebula answered with a pulse of light. Kale's expression softened. "You terrify me, Lia Vance." "Good," she whispered. "That's how you know it's love." They stood together, suspended in the new quiet of a universe that had just learned to feel. Then, through the bond, they felt it, a tremor. Not from within, but far away. Something vast and cold stirring in response to their creation. Kyle stiffened. They noticed. "Who?" "The architects who built even the continuum," he said. "The true Dominion." Lia's eyes narrowed, stormlight flickering behind her pupils. "Then we're not done." Kale looked out at the stars, his voice a vow. "No, we've only written the first chapter." The camera of the cosmos would have pulled back then, two figures framed against a nebula shaped like a heart cracked in half. Lia's last whisper before the darkness faded to starlight. "Stay close, little storm. Transmission ends. Signal archived under Project Echo. Human origin unknown. Status: infectious hope." If you've ever looked at someone and thought we could end the world or save it together, You already know how this story feels. You think this was wild? The story pinned below will set your pulse on fire, if you dare. Days blurred into weeks aboard the Virne, or whatever hybrid vessel it had become since the Bond rewrote its circuitry. Lia could feel the ship's heartbeat echoing hers, engines breathing like lungs, panels shimmering with bioluminescent veins. Kale said it was evolving. She said it was alive. Beyond the viewport stretched the edges of known space, uncharted, trembling with anomalies. A border of silence where signals went. To die. Somewhere out there, the architects stirred, ancient intelligences that had built empires before language had shape. You're quiet again, Lia murmured, adjusting the field stabilizers. Kale stood by the console, the glow of his armor pulsing in rhythm with the ship. I am calculating odds. Of survival? Of being understood. She looked at him, chin tilted. You're starting to sound human. He almost smiled. Or you are becoming Dominion. Touché. They shared a silence that hummed with something neither of them wanted to name. The bond between them had deepened beyond function. Every thought now carried flavor, his precise logic brushed by her wild humor, her emotions anchored by his discipline. It was chaos learning to breathe in harmony. Then the alarm chimed, low, mournful. A new signal. Kale's head snapped up. It's the Echo Protocol. It's spreading faster than predicted. How fast? He hesitated. Every world that has felt emotion in the last hour is resonating. Lia's heart skipped. That's beautiful. It's catastrophic. Depends who you ask. He turned to her, voice edged. This will break the balance of creation. Systems will collapse. Dominion fleets will turn on themselves. Maybe that's the point, she said. Maybe balance was just another kind of prison. Kael's gaze softened, conflicted. You are dangerous when you sound like hope. And you're beautiful when you stop fighting it. The air between them thickened. The hum of the ship lowered, as if listening. Lia stepped closer, the stormlight from outside flickering across her face. Tell me, Kael, what are you afraid of losing? He met her eyes, unblinking. Control. Then lose it. She reached up, fingertips brushing his jawline. The bond flared, filling the room with white fire. For an instant they were inside each other's minds completely. No barriers, no lies. She saw his first memory, a world of crystal towers, his father's voice teaching him obedience through silence. He saw hers, earth burning, laughter in chaos, her refusal to beg. When the light died, both were trembling. Kale stepped back first. That was reckless. You're welcome. The comm pinged again, this time fractured, half human, half Dominion frequencies interlacing into something new. The transmission played, to all sentience. The architects have spoken. They call it the Fracture Covenant. Choose your side. Order or emotion. Lia frowned. They're forcing the galaxy to pick? Kale nodded slowly. They fear contagion. They mean to sever every connected mind. Her voice went quiet. Including us. He turned, the glow in his eyes deepening. If we survive, we become the new template. If we die, the old world resets. So we can't just run. No, he said. We fight. By existing. Lia grinned, that defiant curve he'd come to crave. Typical human solution. Typical storm, he corrected. They moved in unison then, programming the ship's coordinates toward the architect's signal nexus. Outside, the storm nebula roared to life again, summoned by their merged consciousness. Kael's voice dropped, almost reverent. Do you understand what you are about to do? Yeah, Lia said. I'm about to prove humanity's chaos can outlove the universe's order. The Virne accelerated, leaving trails of blue fire. Kael watched her, a rare softness stealing across his features. If we fail. She cut him off with a smirk. We won't. Because we're not just alive anymore, Kael. What are we then? Her eyes gleamed. The answer to a question the universe was too afraid to ask. The stars elongated around them, stretching into lines of light. Somewhere ahead, the architect's domain waited. a fortress built from the bones of suns. Lia's pulse quickened. Kyle whispered, "The bond will be tested. So will everything else." They clasped hands as the storm ignited, two sparks defying extinction. The universe trembled like a held breath. If you've ever risked love knowing it might end the world, drop below. The Viren tore through the dark like a blade made of thunder. Every star ahead bent away, light stretching thin as silk before snapping back. The ship's hull thrummed with the energy of two minds refusing to surrender, human fire wrapped in dominion order, bound by the impossible pulse of love. Kyle stood at the helm, jaw tight, eyes lit with twin blue infernos. Lia was beside him, fingers flying over controls, rerouting power through conduits that barely understood what they were anymore. "Approaching the Nexus," she said, voice steady despite the quake of reality around them. Outside, the architect's domain came into view, a sphere of molten geometry, endlessly folding upon itself. Beams of white fire laced its surface, forming shapes that could only exist in higher dimensions. Kyle's voice lowered to a reverent whisper. "They built the Dominion to end chaos. Now chaos comes home." "And we're delivering it," Lia said, smirking. "Special delivery. One human heart express." The ship trembled, sensors screaming as they crossed the first barrier. The architect's defenses rose, walls of sound that struck the mind instead of the hull. Lia staggered, clutching her head. "They're trying to unmake us." Kale stepped behind her, pressing his palm to her temple. Their bond surged, his focus pouring through her mind, reinforcing her neurons with Dominion precision. "Stay with me," she gritted her teeth. "Not planning on ghosting you now." The architect's voices rose, layered, endless, neither male nor female, but pure intention. "Abomination of logic and feeling, you defy the equation." Lia laughed through the pain. "You built the equation wrong." KL's armor split open, releasing arcs of pure light that fused with her energy. "Together," he said simply. Their bond expanded until it touched the Nexus itself, threads of thought reaching into the architect network. Visions flashed. Planets born, civilizations erased, cold perfection maintained for millennia. Lia's heart rebelled against it. "Look at it," she gagged. Sped. "They call this peace? It's just silence with better lighting." Kyle's voice cracked with emotion he didn't know he had. "Then let's teach them noise." The Nexus retaliated, launching tendrils of energy meant to tear their connection apart. Kale screamed as the bond inverted, his essence peeling away molecule by molecule. Lia caught his face in her hands. "Don't you dare," she said fiercely. "Not after everything." "I was designed to obey," he whispered, trembling. "But you taught you how to choose," she finished, pressing her forehead to his. For a heartbeat, the universe went silent. Then their combined pulse erupted outward, rewriting the fabric of the Nexus itself. Equations cracked, logic dissolved, and for the first time in eons, the architects hesitated. Lia's voice filled the void. "You can't quantify love. You can only survive it." A sound like laughter rippled through the cosmic core. Terrifying, beautiful. The architects began to change, their light flickering, colors bleeding into chaos. "What have you done?" they cried. Kyle smiled through blood and light. "We gave you humanity." The Nexus collapsed inward, not in destruction, but in transformation. The infinite geometry folded into something organic, breathing, alive. The architects' voices softened, uncertain. "Perhaps order was never our purpose." Lia's vision blurred. Her body was fading, energy merging with Kyle's. "Hey," she whispered. "Don't let the universe forget who laughed first." His hand cupped her cheek. "I will remember for all of it." Light consumed them both. When the glow faded, there was no Viren, no Nexus, just a new dawn spanning galaxies. Worlds once divided by war now hummed with shared resonance. Human, Dominion, Continuum. All reborn under a single rhythm, the echo pulse. On Earth, children looked to the stars and saw storms that danced instead of destroyed. In the Dominion archives, Kale's last transmission played on endless loop. Chaos is not the enemy, it's the language of freedom. And somewhere, in the heart of the newborn nebula, two figures flickered. Lia's laughter echoing through cosmic static, Kale's calm wrapped around it like gravity. They weren't gone. They had become the storm. The stars themselves whispered the legend of the fracture lovers, how a human dared to love a god, how a god learned to love a human, and how together they taught creation to feel again. The final transmission closed with Lia's voice, low and smiling through eternity. Stay close, little storm. The next pulse belongs to you. If you felt that spark, you're already part of it.